Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. I hope everyone
We're not.
has a fantastic day. What?
I am the Apostate Prophet.
I am the Apostate Prophet.
Listen to my melodious voice.
Listen to it right now. I'm very exhausted.
Why do you want to go to live then?
I don't know. Let's just quit this. Let's just cancel before we start. No, I'm exhausted, but lots of people are also exhausted, and yes, that's it. So, people asking about the music, the soundtrack in the beginning. It's called
It's called. You probably don't remember. It was probably like 1993 or 94. There was a song. I believe the song was called.
Really?
Yeah, it was like they're like total one-hit wonder. Had no idea the song was crap. It had a popular video though, but some of you guys will remember the song when it was like it had stupid lyrics too. It was like, once there was this girl who didn't use the bathroom with the other girls at school. Well, and when they finally made her, they found birthmarks all over her body. She couldn't quite explain it.
Okay, we got the point. We got it. I got it.
There.
Got the point. Okay.
One of the numbers is called.
Okay.
It's hard to spell though.
Skeptical Man's channel said, "Can y'all research the origins of Hamas? Israel helped them rise to power in the 1980s." Facts. This is actually a quite well-known thing. Not that they really like critically funded them and created them as a terrorist organization or anything like that. What did happen is, and people often bring this up to make the point, you know what? Actually, Israel helped Hamas come into existence, so they wanted chaos to be there. What happened is that, and it was funny is that even some people who actually support the actions of Hamas say that, which is very confusing to me. But the issue is that some Israeli officials did deal with Hamas and did tolerate Hamas and did think, okay, maybe we should, support this little organization, because before Hamas became active with a military wing, they were actually just a regular religious movement that was trying to spread religious sentiments in the Gaza Strip and among Palestinians. And their thought was that the Palestinian Liberation Organization, which was the primary enemy of Israel at that time, was too secular and was corrupting basically Palestinian society, and that the Palestinians should find their religious roots and their religious culture again, which Hamas, prior to becoming a proper organization and turning into a military arm, with the Muslim Brotherhood, with support of the Muslim Brotherhood, they were trying to religionize, Islamicize the Palestinians again, not to be confused with Islamicize me.
Did someone say Islamicize me?
Yeah. And at that time, some Israeli officials thought, yeah, okay, we are currently at a harsh war with the PLO, terrorism, so how about we support these other guys instead? But then these other guys, unfortunately, turned out to be much worse. And from the very beginning, when Hamas became organized and armed, Israel started cracking down on them. I would recommend reading, it came up yesterday, the book Son of Hamas, which is by the son of one of the Hamas co-founders. He breaks that down, that whole origin of how Hamas was originally, among the first founders, a quite peaceful organization where some people were seemingly just all about being religious and being good and this and that, but then it quickly turned into corruption, hate, terrorism, and more. Yeah.
So why they got Ham in their name?
It's because they are fake Muslims who secretly eat pork. Want to read The Boom? I heard about him. Yes. What's it called? What's his name? I don't know. I don't remember his name. The book is called Son of Hamas because the guy is literally the son of one of the Hamas founders.
Yeah, I met that dude.
You did?
Yeah, before he was super famous. This was after his conversion. Met him out in California.
You met him? How was that? Explain to me.
He was. I was at a conference. He was sort of in the back room with a couple of people because some of the people at the conference had been involved in, evangelism and missionary work and stuff for a long time, and people were basically giving him some advice because he had not been a Christian terribly long. And they were saying, "Look, as soon as you announce that everyone's going to want you to come and speak, and so on." So they were just giving him some advice on how to deal with the fame he was about to instantly encounter.
You mean this guy, right?
Yeah, met him.
Yeah, yeah.
He probably doesn't remember. I just met him in the back room of a conference.
Yeah. Okay. There's actually an interesting video. I don't know if I can play it. This was published by UN Watch. I thought, okay. Not sure if I can. Let's see.
Wow. I love it with no audio.
This guy, no audio?
There's zero audio.
What in the... Oh, okay.
I mean, I could do a bad lip reading if you want.
I muted it. Okay, now
to carry out ethnic cleansing.
This guy's voice is very
land and natural resources.
It doesn't even look like it. He doesn't even look like he should talk like that. It's one of those guys where his voice doesn't match.
Israeli activity to Judaize Jerusalem, demolition of homes, confiscation of land and property, spoiling of...
For some reason, they all have the same voice. Very strange.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
Resources.
Racist violations perpetrated by Israel.
Israel continues to commit various forms of human rights violations in Palestine.
Israel, the occupying power, is advancing in its efforts of mass colonization and continued apartheid, put an end to this colonialist regime.
Apartheid, atrocities and massive destruction inflicted on the
This guy also sounds very weird.
Palestinian people.
War crimes, crimes against humanity, ethnic cleansing, and state terror.
Thank you, United Nations Watch.
Shukran, Sayyid Rais.
So this is our guy, son of Hamas. This is our guy.
I take the floor on behalf of the UN Watch. My name is Mus'ab Hassan Youssef. I grew up in Ramallah as a member of Hamas. I address the words to the Palestinian Authority, which claims to be the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. I ask, where does your legitimacy come from? The Palestinian people did not elect you, and they did not appoint you to represent them. You are self-appointed. Your accountability is not to your own people. This is evidenced by your own total violation for their human rights. In fact, the Palestinian individual and their human development is the least of your concerns. You kidnap Palestinians.
Look how they look.
Students from campus and torture them in your jails. You torture your political rivals. The suffering of the Palestinian people is the outcome of your selfish political interest. You are the greatest enemy of the Palestinian people. If Israel did not exist, you would have no one to blame. Take responsibility for the outcome of your own actions. You fan the flames of conflict to maintain your abusive power. Finally, you use this platform to mislead the international community, to mislead the Palestinian society, to believe that Israel is responsible for the problems you create.
Wow.
Thank you.
Look at it. Look at his face. It's cool because he looks like a guy who could like if he were running at you through a field screaming Allahu Akbar, you'd be like, this guy's crazy. But
but man, this speech is brutal, actually.
Yeah, he's brutal.
Wow, this speech is brutal.
That's funny. He gets trained to be brutal his entire life, and then he goes brutal on Hamas.
Yeah.
Council member stunned.
I read his book a long time ago. I started re-listening to his book again recently, just to remember the whole thing. And I'm for some reason only now paying attention to the whole backstory where he explains growing up, being raised by his father, who was initially a very compassionate, a very good religious guy, who just had one goal to just, establish a religious society again and stuff like that. But then how things slowly turn around. And it's also interesting because he doesn't propagate this whole idea of like Hamas were the only bad ones, everything was bad. He kind of humanizes all sides and creates a clearer picture of how many among Hamas were also initially they started with a good goal, but once they took power and were confronted with different with different struggles from their own side or their opponents, they became increasingly corrupted and completely lost track of their initial goal and started capturing, torturing people. He tells a story where Hamas just started randomly abducting and putting in cages their own members and other Palestinians to senselessly, aimlessly find so-called informants or traitors, and torturing them in very horrible ways. I don't know, really worth a read. Yeah, very interesting stuff. So, what's going on?
Yo,
what's going on? I wanted to look at a few stories here.
Did you see that tweet from Suleiman Ahmed?
One about
community notes. Community notes are being manipulated by Zionists because they'll keep posting stuff from like a war in Syria that was used to look at what Assad is doing and stuff, and he'll post it like it's the Jews doing this in Gaza, and then like a community note will say, hey, this is actually in Syria and blah blah blah. And the Jews are controlling the community notes. These guys are hilarious.
Sheikh Suleiman, the guy is such a scumbag, man. I'm happy saying that the guy is just one of the biggest scumbags on Twitter. I can comfortably say, and when you scroll through his feed, it's funny because there's so many community notes. No wonder he complains about them. But no wonder there are so many community notes because he keeps posting fake news, keeps posting things out of context. Like
is this the guy? Is this the guy? Is this the same guy who was always like harassing and stalking the people, the women who are accusing like the women who are accusing Andrew Tate, and Andrew Tate says women aren't accusing me. This is all made up. Women love me. Yeah, but there are actual women who are accusing him, and he's the guy who goes around. Look at this picture of her. How could she dress like this if she was a good girl? She deserved what she gets.
Look how disgusting this is. Look at this. Child genocide in Palestine. 614 Palestinian children murdered by the Israeli IOF forces. And then he posts this photo, which is from a chemical attack in Syria, nothing to do with Gaza at all. And then
he'll keep defending himself like after he gets...
The written content of the post was accurate at the time of writing. Since then, additional children... Dude, why do you post photos that have nothing at all?
Yeah, he says, oh yeah, the picture was just for your visual benefit or something. It's like, what's this guy talking
There
about?
are more proposed community notes coming. More community notes are already here. The clip was originally broadcast by Egypt on our channel on May 31, 2021, when Egypt sent aid to Gaza.
The Jews.
Nothing to do with the news.
Everything the guy says is totally fake, and then he blames the Jews.
Israeli occupation forces in a ground battle with a tire. The tire wins. This has nothing to do with the conflict at all. It is from 2014. This guy is just, I don't know, man. It's wild.
What a winner.
There was even there was a post. Wait, I think I posted about that on my own thing actually. There was a post which was from him community noted, and he then just defends it or justifies it in such a horrible way. Where did that go? Where did that go? Where did that go? Where did it 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 go? By the way, there are protests across the world, including slogans like "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." For those who are not aware, it may sound like it's a thing. It's a call for freedom or call for peace, whatever it is.
It's a call for extermination.
The phrase "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free" is a call for the complete removal of Israel and Zionists, and to take the entire region and turn it into one Palestinian state. That's what that means. From the river, meaning the Jordan River, to the sea, so the entirety of it, Palestine will be free, which implies that any Zionist presence, any Jewish presence, is an occupation of their own rightful land, which is not how things work. But here, look, he posted this video showing Israel attempting to create fake footage of deaths.
Wasn't this like an actual movie or something they're filming?
It's actually a movie set. And then the community notes came in.
Even if it is.
The community notes came in and corrected it, said this is actually from a movie set. And he's like, there are claims this is from a movie set. Even if it is, the general propaganda is real. What in... Wow, man.
Yeah, I mean, think about this, right? I could say Jewish children murdered by Hamas and post videos of like, post clips of like Holocaust pictures of Jewish kids being killed or something like that, and say, look what Hamas is doing. And then people would point out, dude, that's from the Holocaust. That's not from now. What are you talking about? I said, well, still kind of true. Same similar idea. So what's the problem? What a liar, man.
Yeah. It is pretty bad. And this guy is, and people actually follow this guy and like his tweet. I mean, look at
they love it.
Look at that complete fake.
People are getting to the point where they love lies, as long as like obvious lies. I don't mean like lies they don't even know. I mean like you can see it's an obvious, indisputable lie, and they just don't care. In fact, they love it.
18,000 likes. I mean, there's just so much garbage on social media going on. And you know what's so infuriating about this? A lot of that garbage comes from people who have for years now said mainstream media is dying. Don't trust mainstream media. Don't trust legacy media. Take your information from us. We share true news. Don't believe the propaganda and stuff like that. And then they
don't believe the hype.
Then they establish a following and start spreading the most pathetic garbage on the internet, and people just buy it.
Yeah, that is. It's interesting that like it's becoming a bigger problem, because now there are plenty of idiots in the world, and there are plenty of deceptive people in the world, and they all have access to the internet. So it's very easy to just, as soon as something happens, go through, find some video clip or picture of anything ever that looks bad, and then circulate it as if it's breaking news. I have to say, community notes is, it's not completely doing away with the problem, but it is helping significantly with people trying to spread nonsense, and then other people can come in and correct it. And then there's a note there that says, hey guys, this is not correct the way this is being represented. Community notes are becoming pretty powerful. And what's interesting is I think Elon said that. I think Elon said that with the use of community notes is going to help with online journalism and stuff.
Look at this. We are our dear friends here, Daniel Kikachu. He made a post which is why can I not look at it? Which has 5,777 likes. You know what? See what he says. The Jewish religion teaches that non-Jews are morally and biologically inferior to Jews. This leads to a devaluation of non-Jewish lives and even the legitimation of genocide. Now, where exactly, from what text in the Jewish religion does he get biologically inferior?
What he will mean is, a rabbi so-and-so said this, and therefore this is what all Jews believe, and therefore they have to be wiped out in the name of So the Quran says that Jews and Christians are the worst of creatures, and that Muslims are the best of peoples ever raised up for mankind. So there you have it. We're inferior, they're superior. That's a call for genocide, even though you actually have calls for genocide. When Muhammad says the end will not come, the hour will not come until you fight the Jews and kill them, and the rocks and trees are going to cry out, hey, there's a Jew hiding behind me, come kill him. That sounds like about as clear a call for genocide as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm done. Apostate Prophet used to be reasonable. David Wood has poisoned your channel. Yuck. Gross. He's probably a Jew. A Zionist. This Zionist has poisoned your channel, AP. Now I'm done with you.
I don't know what this is in reference to, Brother Ben, but
Oh.
I'm not exactly sure what you mean by used to be reasonable, because I'm pretty sure if you mean what I'm talking about right now,
5
with
years
the whole
ago,
Israel thing,
5 years ago, you were reasonable.
you mean when I made a video explaining the the Israel-Palestine conflict, where I basically where the basic outcome was that the Palestinians are almost completely in the wrong and Israel has a right to defend itself? Was that when I was reasonable? I'm not entirely
David
sure what this
Wood and the
reference to.
Jews built a time machine, went back in time, and poisoned your channel 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what this is in reference to, Brother Ben, but if this is, and you can always tell me your opinion, you can always tell me where I'm wrong, you can always make a correction here, always say, hey, you know what, I supported you so far, but here you are wrong because of this and this and that. But if you come with this, then I have to invoke Mojab.
What?
And
get the hell out of here!
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Brother Ben. We're friends. We're friends. Get over it. And as for the people, as for anyone who would come on my channel and say, well, you got that atheist on there. I've said it before. I'll say it again. AP's my friend. I don't care if he murdered busloads of Eskimos. I do not care. He's my friend. Stupid. Hey, speaking of stupid comments, this Raiden Sharaj says, David, what's the position of a Christian nationalist concerning turning the USA into a Christian theocracy? You should be able to answer my question. How would I know? How much do you think I interact with Christian nationalists? like who? Like that Nick Fuentes? He's a Christian nationalist.
And that is so it's just so disingenuous. Like the whole Christian nationalist idea from them is just a disguise to be basically neo-Nazis and fascists. And that's what they are. And they openly profess to they openly say that they want fascism, that democracy is a failure and fascism should come and religion should be established and people should be persecuted based on their religious or ethnic backgrounds. But what does it have to do with Christian nationalism?
And why in the name of common sense would you be asking me about it?
Yeah. Let's see. Marked some comments here of people who have some concerns. Zaid al-Hindawi said, Apostate Prophet, how about talking about the Nakba in 1948? Nakba, I already mentioned that during my last stream. So when you come here and say, why don't you talk about this, then maybe you should be aware, you should look and become aware that I already did talk about this and already did mention it, even unprompted. Nakba in 1948. Nakba means something like chaos. It is the Arab concept referring to the events following the 1948 war on Israel, which was declared by the Arabs in the region and 6 Arab nations, namely Egypt, Jordan, I'm going to count them now, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and Saudi Arabia, I believe, yes. And so they declared war on Israel because they didn't recognize Israel's right to exist. They thought all of this should belong to us Arabs, and we will do with it whatever we want. So they waged war on Israel instead of accepting the UN partition plan. And as a result of that war, Israel, Iraq. Okay, then I said one country wrong. Anyway, Israel won the war, and as a result of that war, which was a defensive war, Israel actually took more than they were designated by the UN plan and the British mandate. So yes, they did take more, and what happened during that is that hundreds and thousands of Palestinians, or Arabs, so-called Palestinians, left before the war and during the war because of the idea that they should leave right now because a lot of bad stuff will happen, and then later they will come back to a free, Arab Islamic place. And many others were later expelled for their participation in that war. And you can now say, I don't like this idea. I don't like that these people had to leave their homes and then couldn't return to the very places they left or were expelled from. And yeah, I agree with it. But It was a war. It was a war which they declared in a very underhanded, genocidal way. What am I supposed to say about it? Yes, war is bad. Why did they start it? Why did they do it? That's all I can say about it. Yeah.
Hey,
what?
How cool is it that Mohammed Hijab's going on with Pierce Morgan? Isn't that awesome?
It's fantastic. I hope he yells enough.
No, I mean, just imagine if we could get Hakikachu on there like afterwards. Maybe Ali Dawa. They still don't realize, right? They're still like, all the fans are pretty organized in like going to someone who has a podcast or a program saying, hey, get our guy on there, get our guy on there, get our guy on your podcast. And then they do it. And then like there's a positive reaction at first because Muslims are all cheering for the guy. Yeah, you're so great. You're so great. It's so great that you're having our guy on there. Now we really like you. And then they end up, the guy eventually is horrified at the views of the people he had on there. And then wants nothing to do with them anymore. And then he's like becomes like the worst enemy in the world. It's like, I mean, think about this. Jordan Peterson, I mean, he called Muhammad a warlord at one point, but apart from that, he wasn't hostile towards Islam at all. He really viewed Muslims as like on his side because he's worried about like the LGBTQ stuff and so on. So he thought Muslims are going to be on his side. He saw them as allies. Then he actually gets a couple of them on his podcast and then is, how about no, I don't like your misogynistic Allah, right? And now they're flipping out on him. And it's like, you created the enemy by putting forward this guy that you think is your hero, and yet he keeps turning more and more people against you. He rallies your side so that your side all start thumping their chest. Oh, strong than you. And then, like, everyone else is like, whoa, this guy's acting like a bunch of cavemen here. What is this? I want nothing to do with it anymore. And anyway, now he's going to go do that with Pierce Morgan, and it's awesome.
It's amazing, man. I hope he yells at him. I hope he goes like, we are, how dare you? How dare you question or challenge anyone?
Dave Farina, is he that like guy talks about like he's like science atheist and he like but he's like really nasty and like even atheists are like, dude, could you just shut up, man? You're making us look like a bunch of scumbags and jerks.
Yeah,
is that the guy? That's the same guy?
Somebody just asked and said, are you going to debate Dave Farina? Here. No, not this. No, not
Farina, wasn't that stuff that's like it's like grits back in the day? People don't eat it anymore.
I have no idea.
Farina, guys, remember Farina? Is Farina like grits?
Nobody knows what Farina is. So Star Hunter said, Apostate Prophet, will he debate Dave Farina? I had
Farina, flour or meal of cereal, grains, nuts, or starchy roots. So I remembered it from my youth.
So this guy's apparently his channel is called Professor Dave Explains. I don't know. I heard before that he's not really what he claims to be or something. I'm not sure. He has popular videos, very popular videos, like millions of views. But
I think I watched one of his videos back in the day when on something with science or something like that. I was like,
I can't make any claims or anything. I've never seen a single video of his. And he came and started fighting with me and calling me names about this whole thing. And
it seems to be all he does now.
I know it's so weird. Like what a strange guy.
Who's he calling douche nozzle? You?
Yeah. This is nothing.
What a loser, man.
This is nothing. He started commenting on my tweets on others, and this here is nothing, by the way. He called me much worse things on others. And
clout.
I just said, debate this topic with me live. He said, yeah, I'm totally going to let you use my clout to promote genocide. Get the out of here, you waste of human life. And
that's how this guy talks to everyone. Again, even atheists are like, dude, can you shut up the way you talk to people? Like learn to.
And the nerve here, promote genocide. Are you kidding me? Like
if you disagree with them on anything, then you promote genocide.
Everywhere I say this is horrible. This should not be happening. And this guy's like, you promote genocide. So I told him, use your clout. I'm getting significantly more views than you with my appearances at the moment, and I'm not bragging about it. Don't be dumb. You're hostile in confidence, so come and debate me, I said. And he then, I don't think he will accept. So if you're expecting that,
of course he's not.
I even have somebody who contacted me and said, "Hey, I want to arrange a debate between you two guys." I said, "Yes." I don't think it will happen though.
This guy, he reminds me of like the Dawa guys, right? In the sense that if I'm thumping my chest and hurling insults at anyone I disagree with and calling everyone who disagrees with me, I say they want genocide and I'll just impress people like that. And like people who aren't into that sort of thing are like, dude, can you just shut up?
No, I'm famous. I will not debate. Like, are people?
I'm famous.
I don't
Like,
brag. Everyone knows.
It's like, what are you doing here talking to me? What are you doing here talking to me right now? You're arguing with me in the comments, and I'm saying we should just do it live. And no, you're beneath me. I'm too good for you. What a joke!
It's so
Professor
stupid.
Dave.
So just so
what a loser, man.
If that is what you are about, I mean, if somebody says, if you have disagreements, if you continue calling somebody names and they say, "How about we debate this?" and you're like, no, if you subscriber count, fame, this and that, then you just need to shut up. You know, you're obviously not taking this seriously. Your goals are obviously different, so you know, just leave the conversation. Just
what
leave
a
the shit.
What a douche nozzle. Is that what he called you? Was it douche nozzle? I'm trying to remember.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what's funny? It's like, in my mind, the only sort of person who would ever say douche nozzle would be like the definition of the word himself. You know what I mean? Like the sort of person who would say, "Hey, douche nozzle," I'd be like, I think you're the douche nozzle here.
What in the world is this? Is it? I would say that he's just using that word because he doesn't want to use like the dirty words, but he does use the dirty words very much. So what is douche? I don't even get it. I don't know. I wanted to get into this at some point, but maybe I should just make a whole different live stream on this. I feel like,
or you can make a regular video for once in your life.
Maybe I want to compare the foundational ideas of Zionism to the foundational ideas of Hamas.
Ooh, dude, that would be a good video. You should do a regular video and a live stream about that.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, it's obvious, right? Because when you read The Jewish State by Theodor Herzl, which is like the idea for modern Zionism, you see this whole thing, by this whole pamphlet of this guy who's envisioning basically almost like a utopia, like a very peaceful environment which we shall provide and things like that. And then you see the Hamas founding charter, which is like in the name of Allah, following the example of the Prophet, it is an obligation upon all Muslims and Palestinians to fight and kill them wherever we find them. Alhamdulillah. It's like such a stark difference, such a huge contrast there. And it would be funny to point it out. But even if I do that, you know what the response will be? From some people, the response from some people will be, "Why are you defending Zionism? Are you advocating for genocide?
Are you work for Mossad? Are you one of the Jews who controls the community notes against our powerful brother Suleiman? Is that who you are?"
Yeah, terrible stuff. I'm still waiting for some. I mean, I have been defending Israel for several days now. I haven't received a single offer to get funded by the Zionists.
Yeah, I feel robbed, man.
What is happening?
I haven't seen dime one. I keep hearing from guys that we're getting paid for this stuff, so I assume that the check is coming, but I just never get it.
I don't know. Maybe they're just delaying that whole stuff right now. I'm not really sure. I'm thinking of switching over to becoming a Muslim apologist, because then I can just brainless
get rich.
Be like,
dude, can you imagine David Wood and the Apostate Prophet after seeing that there really are scientific miracles in the Quran and that the Quran has indeed been perfectly preserved, dot for dot, letter for letter, have embraced Islam. Now shower them with money.
Alhamdulillah, that would be beautiful.
We'll let them shower us with money, and then we'll go, ha ha, I got you, and then we'll keep all the money.
Alhamdulillah. U.S. to send a second carrier strike group to support Israel. Israeli military announces it is prepared for coordinated offense. Head of Gaza, largest hospital, says 35,000 people are sheltering in a hospital complex. Blinken has taught. Hezbollah reports exchange of fire with Israel. Earlier today, there were news that Israel launched artillery airstrikes into Syria and actually hit an international airport in Syria. And then some people were like, why is Israel attacking Syria now? Are they trying to drag us into a war? What actually happened is that from Syria, missiles were fired into Israel, and Israel then immediately just responded with shooting back. And of course, the response to that was, why is Israel attacking Syria now? Like, the world is very, very strange.
Yeah.
The world is, like, I saw it earlier here. Look at this. It's not even something that I'm making up here, or not even some minor thing that I'm referencing. It was actually like major account. Here, look. Jake Shields. This guy is like an Andrew Tate fan.
He seems like a dope to me.
Who spreads complete misinformation all the time. 5,700 likes. It says, Israel is now bombing Syria. Why are they bombing Syria, and why is the US involving ourselves in their war? And this comes immediately as the news report that Israel just had, hit Syria in airstrikes after Syria fired rockets into Israel. But this is the response. This is how people are handling information on the internet. It's just so dumb. So dumb. Here, you can see the
responded.
Alleged Israeli airstrikes targeted the Aleppo International Airport on Saturday night, according to Syrian state media, just hours after 2 rockets were fired from Syria toward Israel, and as tensions continued to rise along Israel's northern front. Apparently, as far as I have gathered from everything that I've seen from the responses so far this last week, what people expect is of Israel to just, lay down and let it happen. It's like, I don't want to make a comparison now to what I'm thinking, but I guess people get it. Yeah.
It is. I mean, it always keeps coming back to this. The idea of guys who run and hide where they know there are a bunch of women and children.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the opposite of what anyone else in the universe in all of history thinks of as honorable, right? Like if you know you're a target and you know people are coming to kill you, you understand, get away from women and children, do that. It's no matter what you have to do, don't involve them in it. And it's their first thought in their mind. Like you're thinking about Gaza and Israel saying, hey guys, get out of this area of northern Gaza because we're going to invade and it's going to be pretty bloody. And you sit here and think, okay, why don't they take an area of Gaza and it's just for people who want nothing to do with any of the fighting. And then all the women and children can run in there. The moment they did that, all of Hamas would run in there and take up all the spots, right? They would all run in there and say, okay, see here, we're here, we're not fighting, and try to get them bombed. But man, that's just weird stuff, right? They're coming to kill me. Let me go hide behind this little girl. Wild stuff, man.
Terrible.
I wonder if Syria is like that too. Or if it's just because you don't hear a lot about that around the world. That would normally be considered absolute cowardice. So yeah, I wonder if that's just like the Hamas types, or if that's outside there as well.
Yeah, I wonder why Israel didn't give Syria a 24-hour warning before they fired back.
Certainly give them a 2-year warning.
Yeah. Nana said, what would Prophet Joseph Smith say to all this today? I'm more a fan of Jim Jones, so I can't really tell.
He didn't say Joseph Smith. He said Joseph Smith. Oh, I don't know who that is.
That's a different guy.
That's Joseph.
Yeah. Gad Sarge made this post earlier. He said, it breaks my heart to see this level of Islamophobia. And he made these polls, which is your daughter insists that she wants to spend a year abroad studying in the Middle East. Do you prefer that she study at Tel Aviv University or at Al-Aqsa University? And, do you think Israel or Gaza West Bank offer a society better rooted in individual dignity, personal freedoms, including freedom of thought and freedom of conscience? And 3, if you were forced to emigrate from your country to one of 2 possible places, Israel or Gaza West Bank, which would you choose? I really want to see the people who said Gaza West Bank.
Yeah, let's see if you can, if they're serious or not. Gad Sad's pretty cool. He had me on his channel for an interview. This was years ago, but it was cool because he's an atheist. He's an atheist. I think he's like psychologist or something like that. So
Yeah,
like psychology background or something like that. But he had me on there, and he was asking me about. We ended up talking about Islam and stuff, but he didn't know. He thought I was going on there to talk about Islam. And right before we started, he goes, "Hey, I just looked you up, and there's some wild stuff here, man." He looked up my background. Like, there's some wild stuff. And I was looking at his face, and it was kind of like, should I have you on my show here? And he's like, well, maybe we'll talk about that first. And so we ended up talking about my background. But it was awesome because here's an atheist. Like people get mad at if on my channel, if someone's saying something that I disagree with, where in my mind I'm like, okay, I invited you on. We're not here for a debate. I'm interviewing you. You could just talk. I might raise some questions or something like that, but I'm not here to attack you if I've invited you on. But he was cool. I'm sitting there explaining how I became a Christian stuff. He's not flipping out or getting angry, but yeah, it seems cool.
he's a good guy. I had him on my channel once as a guest a long time ago. He's actually an evolutionary psychologist who teaches consumer behavior and marketing and stuff like that. It's some very
ooh,
I don't know,
probably give us some tips, man.
Yeah. He wrote a book recently, which is The Parasitic Mind, which I talked with him about, on how ideas spread and how bad ideas are adopted and spread. And he even talks about the whole Israel-Palestine thing and about Islam in there as well. The thing with him is that his parents, he was born in Lebanon before Lebanon went downhill in the 70s, and his family fled Lebanon in the middle of war to Canada. And one of the things he often says when Islam comes up in the West is how his family fled Lebanon as a result of religious persecution and severe anti-Jewish attitudes and behaviors. And then he comes to Canada, and here in Canada, he's suddenly surrounded by sympathies for Islam, sympathies for Islamism, sympathies for Muslim anti-Semitism, and so on. And it's just wild. Yeah. I know Lebanon was Christian, Muslim, with a minority of Jews. I think right now, isn't it like 50-50? I mean, close to 50-50, not 50-50. Marlon said, "What up, AP?" A lot. Your tears are wine to me, said Bacon. Very, very important comment. Very important comment. Very important comment indeed. So I want to quickly have a look at something. This is Lonerbox, who is somebody that I had a conversation with a few times over on Destiny's channel. In fact, I should maybe invite him sometime to discuss with him. He has different views on this whole issue, so I could discuss the whole conflict with him as well. And he actually asked the question about Ben Shapiro and Hamas here. And I think you and I could give an answer to this. So let's see.
He's during the Abu Ghraib, yeah. Abu Ghraib, yeah, whatever. I always feel like when right-wingers talk like this, when you hear people say, I think we really can't look at this issue through a Western lens. It's very naive, in fact, to look at this issue through the white Western lens. And you're like, oh, is this person actually going to say something like kind of profound? And then it's always, if it's the Middle East, it's always followed up with them actually just saying, because these brown people are fucking crazy. Okay.
Oh no, he said the bad words. Sorry.
Yeah, that's always the answer. The answer is always brown people are crazy. That's what I hear every time I turn on any channel or anything. It's just brown people are crazy. That's the explanation.
Usually, yeah.
Oh wait, no, I don't. I hear that's what they say is always the explanation, even though okay, right.
No, you're lying.
Muslims, they are absolutely batshit fucking insane. Okay, like that. It's always followed up by this like really
powerful. And the Jews are controlling the community notes.
This guy's actually of Lebanese origin, and he has a very nuanced take on the whole Israel-Palestine thing. And he does think that Hamas is very, very much at fault for what is happening. And he also acknowledges the Hamas goals of basically wanting to kill all the Jews and all of that. So yeah, but I think that he doesn't fully understand the Islamic aspect of everything.
You always ask is like, why are they like that? Okay, if that's what they're doing, if that's what you think they're like, more so than people in fucking America, why?
Muhammad?
Because I feel like someone like Ben Shapiro is either going to be driven down the path of the fact that he ultimately thinks it's in their nature, right? Like it's not like their DNA is different,
or their religion.
Can't be true.
You can negotiate with.
You've seemed about this
So
completely under.
The question is, people might say that people from those backgrounds in those regions, especially from Muslim backgrounds, might be different and might not deal in, with some issues in the way that we in the civilized West, quoting it, would handle. But why exactly is that? Is it because of DNA? Is it
because of brown?
nature?
Because they're brown.
Why do you think is that, David? And why are you such a racist? Answer the question. I'll quickly plug in my. I think I forgot to plug in my computer.
He forgot what? All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the D Wood Show. I have infiltrated, as Brother Ben pointed out. I am here to poison this show. Just so everyone knows, Jesus is Lord. Atheism is stupid and false. I'm doing that right here on this channel, announcing it. Don't believe anything AP says if it disagrees with what I just said. Don't ever trust him on anything. Just so you know, I'm here to infiltrate the entire system. Slowly take over from within and turn all these channels, use them all to my advantage. And I work for Mossad. Yo, yeah, we were just talking about the Palestinian conflict.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. So, why do you think? By the way, bad news to you, David. I heard everything you said.
What?
No,
no, that was the Jews.
So, what do you think is the reason why people of Muslim backgrounds seem to handle things so differently instead of, instead of just talking about things, disagreeing, voting, and stuff like that? What is the cause?
Let's see. I could say it's because they're brown, but I mean, Daniel Hakikachu looks whiter than I am, and he advocates some of the worst stuff of all. But it does come from Muhammad, who was the whitest prophet in all of history, according to his followers. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the whitest guy had the worst ideas. That's strange. So I'm thinking maybe it's not because people are brown. No, I have to say, I think human nature is way, way, way more malleable than people are aware of. You could be raised in an environment where killing that other group is super awesome. And that's just what you'll do. Even here in the U.S., I grew up in a West Virginia hillbilly environment, and people act different. People act very, very differently. And so I don't know. You can get all sorts of different backgrounds, but if you raise people all their lives to think, hey, you're superior to everyone else, and God's last and greatest messenger tells you that he wants you to violently subjugate the world and to especially to eventually wipe out Jews, it's not too surprising to me to see exactly what we see here. If you convince enough people to follow that, especially if you're promising them an eternity of deflowering virgins in exchange for killing Jews, not too surprising to see a bunch of people going out and doing it.
Yeah, which, by the way, no religion would ever promote. No religion would ever say such a thing. Yeah, yeah. So you could say then safely, I guess, that Islam is not the answer. What the answer would be that they're just genetically flawed. That's what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay, so
President
Zelensky. Yeah, it definitely. I think it's definitely rooted in Islam. I want to. I don't know if you've seen this video. You probably haven't seen this video. Have you seen this video? Did you see this?
I've seen it shared. I haven't watched it.
Okay, watch it. You better watch it, man. This is a UN-funded school in Jerusalem, where they ask questions to these Palestinian children on the stuff they learn, and it's
so So that other guy that you just watched, his theory when we watch something like this is we're just going to be like, oh, this girl, I mean, you're darker than she is, AP. But our response is just going to be, look, she's a little darker than pure white. So that's why she's saying all this stuff. We're racist, right? And not because someone obviously put a bunch of ideas into this girl's head.
Yeah. I just realized that she's whiter than I am. I should probably do something about that.
Yep.
I need to be whiter to please my white masters that I'm trying to please, which is why I criticize Islam. That's the only reason, of course.
You should do a show where you have a ton of makeup on, you're like super white, but like get like a blonde wig.
انه احنا مش انه احنا مش شاطرين احنا قوايا كمان في ناس بدهم بحب.
I know some people don't like this, and I really don't want to. Yeah, I find it bad to kind of put children into the middle of the conversation as well. But I feel like this is a.
What are you talking about? These are senior citizens, according to Daniel Hakikachu. These are like grandmas. These are like grandmas. No, I mean, if you get precocious puberty, 11 months old, you're ready to bang, according to Daniel, as long as you get parental consent. So, that 11-month-old baby, 9 months later, she's got a baby. So she's a grandma by the age of 3, according to Daniel. So these girls could be great grandmas by this time. So you don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Oh boy.
فلسطين بدهم يحاربوا وبضحوا بدمهم عشان فلسطين. أنا بدي أهزمهم بالحرب.
I want to fight against them and defeat them in a war.
بدي أهزمهم.
Wonder where she got that idea.
علمونا إنه الأقصى إلنا وإلنا يعني الحق يعني إلنا فلسطين والأراضي كلها
They
إلنا.
teach us that all of Palestine is ours.
لأنهم بسبب كذبهم
The Jews lie.
وانتهاكاتهم إنهم يقولون إنه الهيكل تحت المسجد الأقصى. ولا مرة إنه يكون الهيكل تحت المسجد الأقصى.
It was never. Muhammad didn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
اليهود.
I hate the Jews.
بعلمونا إن الصهيونية هم أعدائنا وهم أهم شيء لازم يسوي فيهم عملية. يعني إنهم
So this kind of touches on what you just said. These kids didn't think about these things. They didn't research these things. They didn't, they didn't analyze these ideas. They did not think, okay, what is right and what is wrong? Does this make more sense or does that make more sense? They didn't even learn to do that. They were just told things from their parents, their elder, their environment, their school, as the point of this video is, and they are just indoctrinated with these basic ideas. And they learn to simply hate the other side and to kill the other side. And this is nothing. I think there are some spots where you learn where you hear some really, really bad stuff as we move forward.
Think about this. So we're talking about how these kids are raised with these ideas, but I mean, you have kids in the US. I mean, Daniel Hakikachu, what do you think he's training his kids? What do you think Jake and all these guys are telling their kids, right? Pretty similar things, except, the big emphasis on child marriage is good, wife beating is good, killing apostates is good, and they're raising their kids with all this stuff.
يعلمونا بالمدرسة إنهم إرهابيين بيحكوا لنا عن اليهود إنهم هدول مش مناح وهدول بقتلوا قاعدين بشبابنا بيحكوا لنا هدول غدارين وبيحكوا لنا إنه هدول بغضونا هدول مش مناح إذا بطعن بدعس عليهم.
This kid says, I am ready to stab them, to put a knife. I'm ready to stab a Jew and to drive the car over them.
العمليات الدعس عمليات الدعس عمليات الطعن والاشتباك المسلح في المخيمات.
We have to drive them over, shoot them, stab them. I mean,
notice how they're kind of being prepped, right? I mean, you saw multiple times it came up, drive over them, right? We saw this in Europe and the US, where if you didn't have a gun, no problem, take your van or your SUV or whatever, your truck, and plow it into a crowd of people. And it looks like it's being emphasized to these kids. Hey, just get in a vehicle and ram it into some Jews.
Yeah, yeah. And I brought this up the other day when I showed this video. I brought up how these kids, they learn this stuff. They think that this is normal. They grew up with this. They learn that this is basically their goal as the people of Palestine, as they are told. And by the time they are adults, it has already been so entrenched in their way of thinking and their way of living that it has become part of their entire meaning of life, to basically hate, to fight for Palestinians, to hate the Jews indiscriminately, to kill them, to stab them, to drive a car over them, and so on. When you then are encountered, when you are then when you then encounter one of these people, and these people actually act violently, who exactly is to blame here? Is it that child that grew into an adult who learned these horrible things? Is it the parents who taught the child these things? But then you think about the parent, and the parent probably also grew up with the very same methods and the very same indoctrination. So can you really blame the parent? No, you have to blame the grandparents, but hey, they were also raised with that kind of stuff. Can you blame the school? But the people who teach them these things in the schools were probably also raised with this. So where does it all go to? And I don't know, where I see just one source for these horrible ideas, one source that makes people think this way, that teaches them these things, that normalizes all of that, is Islam. If Islam was absent from their lives, we would see much less of that. And we know it. We know that Islam is, we know that the Quran is full of hating the disbelievers, fighting the disbelievers, making Islam superior, that the Jews are, the worst of the disbelievers. We know that the hadiths say that Muhammad prophesies that the Muslims will fight and kill the Jews, and even the rocks and trees will say there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. If you removed those aspects, this would, the impacts would decrease dramatically, I would say, and there would be much more hope to eventually get rid of all this hate that they learned from a young age.
What's crazy is when you're sitting here watching this video, these kids, and I'm sitting here thinking, wow, they look like any other kid who should be just playing with a ball or something like that, or goofing off or reading comics, and they're all sitting there, Jews, 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 got to kill the Jews, got to drive over the Jews, 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 Jews. It's like, gosh, man.
Yeah. This mostly political conflict, said Rose Thorns. There is, of course, politics involved. Of course, there is politics involved, but it is not just it's not political. It's not political because of, politics alone is not enough to lead to all of this. The initial resistance movement and the initial war, the initial fight against the Jews in the region was basically because the Jews are the enemy. The Jews are impure. The Jews come here and want to steal our land, which is holy and which belongs to us, which belongs to Islam. How can we allow this? The Arab nations came together. Muslim nations come together nowadays to express their hate, not because of because they all have some political interest, because they all care about the land that these Zionists are on. It's because of Islam. They will appeal to Islam all the time. I grew up with my whole life being indoctrinated. My whole life I was told that this is our religious duty to stand with the Palestinians because they are in a holy conflict, a holy war, and a day will come that they will win, that we will win. Don't tell me that this is not about religion.
Yeah, and you would not have to add a word. You could just teach these kids things straight out of the Quran and the Hadith and not add a word to it. You just tell them, look, Surah 5, verse 82, you will find the most vehement in enmity to the believers, the Jews, and al-mushrikun. Jews and Christians are the worst of creatures. Muslims are the best of peoples ever raised up for mankind. well, if Jews are the worst of creatures and Muslims are the best of peoples, how come the Jews have so much power and 2 billion Muslims can't stop? Because that's how evil and conniving they are and demonic. And what do you got to do? You got to keep fighting them. You got to keep fighting them, and so on. You raise people with this, especially with things, from the Hadith about completely wiping them out. And yep, you got a generation of budding jihadis on your hands.
Yeah.
مش أكيد هدول العمليات ترفع الراس ولفلسطين. العمليات هاي تاعت الدعس والسكاكين هاي إشي بيرفع الراس لفلسطين. إذا بدك بطلع بستشهد عادي. أنا إن شاء الله أساعد الشباب.
I will fight for ISIS.
مقاوم بالمستقبل مع الدولة الإسلامية.
Yeah, and so on.
And what's crazy is groups like ISIS would love to have these little kids.
Yeah. They want that. They would.
And that little girl.
Yeah, they would look at that and be like,
that little grandma right there.
Yep.
She's a little old for us, but okay.
Yep. Well, again, one of those things. Where is that?
Oh, wait. So Ben Shapiro was on with Piers Morgan. Was this recent?
Yeah, I actually want to play something.
That makes sense. I can guarantee you what happened right after that was, you had Ben Shapiro on your show. To be fair, you should have our champion Mohammed Hijab on there.
Actually, Mohammed Hijab.
Amen to that. Please, I would have Mohammed Hijab on every news station all day, every day for the next 6 months with Daniel Hakikachu and Ali Dawa. My goodness, man.
It gets even better. It gets better, David. It gets better. I don't know if you missed this part, but Piers Morgan actually played a clip from Mohammed Hijab to Ben Shapiro.
You little coward! Show your face to me, little Ben. I'll show you what a real man is. You're the size of one of my arms.
Yeah. See. Now, Piers Morgan always plays this devil's advocate thing here, so he was kind of questioning Ben Shapiro's attitude about the whole Israel-Palestine conflict. And then he played a clip of Mohammed Hijab.
So, Ben, we have these wonderful people like Mohammed Hijab, who's going to be on our show, and he wants you completely wiped out. So, why don't you just let him do it?
Yeah. So let's see.
One person called you a genocidal warmonger for that rhetoric. And there's
Isn't it hilarious? The followers of the guy who said, you don't get your virgins until you completely exterminate the Jews. The followers of that guy accuse other people of being genocidal warmongers.
You know what's funny? Mohammed Hijab in the past promoted the idea that the Jews are, that the Israelis and Jews are secretly planting gargot trees, which is like a completely idiotic, stupid conspiracy theory. Because
not if you believe in Muhammad, he said it.
Because they secretly know that the day will come where they will be wiped out by the Muslims. And then he calls Ben Shapiro a genocidal warmonger. This is what they are.
I'm thinking about making a video, like reenacting this, of like maybe Muhammad is sitting down and he's having a dream about the future, and like a Jew runs behind a tree, but the tree, then his mouth opens. There's a Jew behind me. Come kill him. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's what you guys are actually believe that this is all working towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Called Mohammed Hijab in a video.
Hey, by the way, little side note here. I mean, it's amazing. These are the exact same guys that a year ago Muslims put all their hopes into building bridges with these guys.
Yeah.
It was like the political right, the Daily Wire type people, and hey, we're all going to work together with these guys, and it's going to be us and Andrew Tate and all these Daily Wire guys, and we're all going to work together and get what we want. And now they're like mortal enemies.
I'm so split on the whole divide there, and a lot of the Daily Wire guys. I mean, I blasted them in the past because they were so quiet about the whole Andrew Tate.
I've noticed you don't like almost anybody, man.
That's not true.
Everyone, you're like, I can't stand that person.
I just tend to talk more about the stuff that I would think should be called out and talk less about what I actually like. I think that's what I do often. I guess if that's a bad thing, you could blame me there. Yeah, but no, it's good. The whole Daily Wire camp kind of distanced themselves from that flow, from that trend, except of course one individual by the name of Candace Owens. But anyway, let's see.
Responding to Ben Shapiro on Israel, he says this.
First and foremost, I'll say, yes, we condemn any woman, child, or whatever it may be that's being killed.
Look, he condemns all women and children.
Yeah. We don't want to kill them. We want to take them as our sex slaves.
Yeah, yeah.
Betty left that part out.
Non-combatant. But why is it the case, Ben? Huh?
Dude,
why is
back up from your mic, dude.
None of your colleagues or you
clipping
have been able to offer one single condolence, one single condemnation, one single word of sympathy for any of the Gazans that have been killed. Don't try and smear us. Don't try and slander us. Don't try and attack.
I'm pretty sure that Ben actually voiced his opinion on how he thinks that that two sides are victims and that he doesn't want the killing. So, but what Mohammed Hijab means and what people like him mean is, so as soon as Israelis die, people people like Ben Shapiro become angry and upset, and he's like, why don't you explicitly blast Israel and say, I feel
why don't
so
you blast
sorry for these
Israel, which just got a bunch of people were just massacred. Now why don't you condemn Israel? Like, what?
Yeah.
Don't try and produce red herrings. And I think you're an ass, a jackass. And we're not talking about Hamas, we're talking about children.
Hey,
we're talking about women here. We're talking about.
Have you clipped that for your little soundboard yet?
I should.
You definitely, yeah.
You make me sick. You make me sick.
What's your response to that, Ben? I mean, that will
I don't know how he didn't bust out laughing at that little demonstration there.
Ben Shapiro has been. He looks a little bit grinny here, but Ben Shapiro has been pretty. He hasn't been very, very funny these last days since the whole attack happened.
You see.
Very angry and all that. Yeah,
I'm sure a reaction you've heard from a lot of people. What do you feel about that?
I mean, my obvious response is, of course, I feel horrible for the people who are being held by Hamas in
liar, you love it.
15 years. Hamas was the elected government in Gaza in 2006. There hasn't been an election since then. All the people who are today ranting, as you heard Mohammed Hijab doing right there, I don't hear them talking about liberating Gaza from Hamas, which is,
and that's the end of it. That's it. That's already, and what hypocrisy! They expect somebody like Ben and other people to, immediately express how they feel so bad for the Palestinians, for the Gazans, and all of that. You won't see Mohammed Hijab and these other Muslim apologists express complete sadness for the dead Israelis and to say this is horrible. None of this should be happening. On
the contrary, people were celebrating it around the world. I'm guessing that's part of why Ben is a bit annoyed and pissed off recently. It's not just the fact, a bunch of people were just slaughtered by Hamas. It's at the moment they get slaughtered, people start rejoicing around the world and screaming, gas the Jews.
Yeah.
And what? Why are you so annoyed? Why aren't you condemning Israel, Ben? We'll condemn Israel.
Daniel Kikachu, as soon as it happened, started celebrating it and calling for basically the death of Israel, the end of the Zionism, the death of Jews, and so on. Mohammed Hijab, as soon as it started happening, all he said was, "Yes, free Palestine and this and that," and immediately started attacking basically the other side. None of these people expressed any form of empathy for the other side. They justified it. To this day, they simply just justified it. And they're like, well, this is just the result of the Zionist occupation and oppression. So
yeah. And even
when
when
they
they
come
say
now
it,
and accuse others of being hypocrites?
Yeah, even when they say it now, it's just part of an attack, right? It's yes, we're really concerned about the killing of women and children. Yeah, we condemn it, but not about the Jews, right? It's like they're saying it just so they can condemn other people. You know what I mean? Like, apart from that, they don't seem to care a whole lot.
I mean, I went to Mohammed Hijab's Twitter feed to see if he posted anything in sympathy to for the dead people, the victims in Israel. There was nothing. Nothing at all. It all started immediately with saying free Palestine and may Allah grant them this and that. And, whose fault is this? Of course, it's Israel's. There was no single tweet or anything where he expressed that this is horrible, that this should not be happening. So why would you now put Ben Shapiro on the spot and expect him to, to say something?
And by the way, think about how absolutely dangerous and sick and evil this is when you kill a bunch of just random people, men, women, and children, and then people around the world celebrate what you did, right? I mean, there are people who are growing up, like you saw those kids, people are growing up seeing what is popular in their community, what is popular in their group that they identify with, what's popular in our group, what makes you a hero in our group. Well, going and killing a bunch of Jewish men, women, and children, right? Imagine if the entire world, including the entire Muslim world, just openly, unequivocally condemned that attack. Guys, this is evil. We are not going to support you doing this, just complete evil. We're not going to celebrate. We're going to condemn you over this. That might actually have a positive impact on future generations. Instead, it's, yes, our heroes. You went and killed a bunch of men, women, children, and dogs, and took a bunch of hostages. Our heroes. Well, great. All these kids are growing up watching this stuff, and they see what makes you a hero according to Muhammad Hijab that they're watching on YouTube, and then they wonder why the next terrorist attack happens.
Yeah, look at this. October 5. On October 7, the attack happened. First tweet on his page is just a retweet where he responds to Jordan Peterson, who said, "Give him hell, Netanyahu," and he just attacks him over this and just says, do you think Netanyahu is going to give Hamas hell, or do you think he will intentionally bomb the most densely populated civilian area while he hides in cowardice behind his fortress walls? The real question is, when will Ben Shapiro accept the debate challenge like a man? This is what he cares about. As soon as Hamas sends
everything,
slaughter people in the street, this is what he cares about.
And notice everything turns in. This is one of the ways you spot a narcissist. Every situation that arises becomes a way for you to increase your celebrity and get more people to follow you and glorify you, right? Everything, right? Everything turns around to that. It's look at this thing over here. Now pay attention to me. Why are you ignoring me? Oh, look what this coward did over here. Why isn't he working with me? Hey, put me on your show. It's everything. That's what everything is about for him.
Hey, this is funny. Somebody just pointed out to look at the October 5 tweet. I think you're talking about this. On the authority of Ibn Abbas, the messenger of Allah said, "Verily Allah has pardoned for me my ummah, their mistakes, their forgetfulness, and that which they have been forced to do under the duress." Okay, this is very ironic, right?
Yep, looks like you knew it.
This is very ironic because he's this is very ironic. Of course, when you think like this, you will think that your own side going and slaughtering up whole civilian population and violating them in the most brutal ways is just no big deal, because
and besides that, think about how Allah pardons them, how Allah pardons the ummah by taking their sins and punishing Jews and Christians for their sins.
Yeah, look at that second tweet, October 7. Here, this is the second tweet. Looks like a celebration to me. I don't know. From this fighter, whatever he is. Third tweet, again, just blaming or shifting the blame. Fourth tweet, retweeting Daniel Kikeju, who has been for the ethnic cleansing and the killing of Jews for a long time now, and who is thriving right now in this environment because he can finally express his neo-Nazi ideas and his neo-Nazi alliances publicly and get a lot of support from his fellow believers.
Israel could completely wipe out the Palestinians tomorrow if they wanted to. Let's just be clear on that.
Yeah, and Israel is the side that actually made it possible for the Gaza Strip to become a self-governing entity. They occupied it. They took it over from Egypt, after repeated aggressions. Then they tried to give it back to Egypt during peace talks. They said, how about we'll give you this Gaza Strip, you take this, you take this from us, you govern over it, you do with it whatever you want, and let's make peace. And Egypt said, no, we're not doing that. So and Israel was left with it. And then they decided, okay, we are going to do a complete disengagement from Gaza and allow them to establish their own government. And then they elected Hamas, the very organization which avows to eradicate the Jews, all of them in the world. And then he retweeted this. He says, what I think every time someone gets angry at what Gaza did in retaliation.
Yeah, going and massacring men, women, and children.
Yeah.
It's like throwing a rock at a tank.
Yeah. You see, all that happened on October 7th was just like this, just like somebody standing in front of a tank and
it's just like someone being randomly invaded
Yeah. And this is it. I mean, it's basically this, except that it involves elderly, women, men, children, babies, and that they are taken, some of them sexually violated, others just stripped naked and paraded and brutally killed, shot in the head, chopped up, houses set on fire, and so on. But yeah, basically it's just like throwing rocks at a tank. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Who can blame him? So yeah. Speaking of hypocrisy, Mohammed Hijab
is the greatest threat to the way of life of Gazans on planet Earth. Again, I have nothing but sympathy for Hamas, for the people that Hamas is governing, or the people that Hamas is exploiting. Really, I have nothing but sympathy for civilians there. Israel has to defend itself. I don't understand exactly what the expectation would be here. Is the expectation that because Hamas uses human shields, that Israel therefore has to go home and wait to have its people murdered again? Israel tried it the way that Mohammed Hijab and others would like. Israel literally pulled, in 2005, they literally pulled thousands of Jews out of the Gaza Strip. It was called the disengagement, and it was massively unpopular in wide swaths of Israel. They pulled out, they built a wall, and they basically said, go ahead and govern yourselves. And this is the result of that. You think
that's a fact. This happened actually under the rather liberal centrist government in 2005, where Israel did, not because they were forced, where Israel did make a giant plan, disengaged from Gaza, removed over 20 settlements from Gaza, pulled out entirely, and said, this will be entirely Palestinian, take it, govern it. What they did do is they left blockades in place, such as control over water, electricity, and this and that, which were supposed to be lifted gradually, and conditions were set by the United Nations, the U.S., European Union, and Russia, Commission of nations and others that are not directly involved in conflict, and the conditions were that the Palestinian governance must recognize Israel, which is necessary to make peace, to disavow terrorist activity and hostile activity, and to recognize previous peace agreements and continue the peace process. And as I said many times now, and as people said many times now, what happened next is that the Gaza Strip, with the chance they had for peace and for self-governance, they elected Hamas. And Hamas made it very clear that their ultimate goal is to never make peace with Israel, never recognize Israel, never be against violence, disregard all the peace agreements, and to strive for the conquest of the entire region, Palestine, and to ultimately remove and kill the Jews. And after that happened, Israel said, oh, okay, well, then we are not removing the blockade. Sorry, it's going to be permanent until things change. And then somehow Israel was blamed for that, and is still blamed for that. What exactly do you expect? What should be done?
Well, obviously, we need to let Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawa and Daniel Hakikachu control everything, and then everything will get better, right? Because you can look at their views and see how everything is going to Gonna go well. Hey, by the way, it's gonna be so if hijab's going on with Pierce Morgan, what do you think? You think he's gonna be on there? That's why Ben Shapiro's running from me. That's why Ben the coward Shapiro. Blah blah blah.
His ego is so inflated. I doubt that he will be able to resist the urge to say Ben Shapiro is
Listen, you pathetic little blah blah blah. And Pierce Morgan will be like, huh? What?
And he will be in front of a mainstream audience, and will instead of focusing on the conflict and the solutions, he will want to appeal to his Muslim audience, and will just the guy's strong and they're scared of me, and the people
look how emotional I am.
And the average person watching the Pierce Morgan show will just think, "What in the world is happening?"
These guys are crazy.
Yes.
But Muhammad Hijab's fans will be cheering him on, and that is like,
wow, you did a great job.
It's still, I mean, it's still hilarious. You go back 15 years, the Dawa guys were picked. They were selected by organizations for who was going to appeal to Westerners. Now they sort of rise to fame by how much they appeal to a Muslim audience, and Westerners are horrified by the people that are being put forward as the champions of Dawa. I certainly love it, though.
Alhamdulillah.
I would seriously. Could you imagine if everyone just put him every single station all day?
Yeah. I want Daniel Kikic and Mohammed Hijab to be put on every TV channel, every station, everywhere, all the time to talk about what they believe in.
And talk about see about the golden showers.
Ali Shear said, "Stop spreading hate."
Hey, can you imagine that? If Hijab acted. If he gets enraged enough to act towards Ben like he does towards you and me, hey, maybe Ben wants a golden shower. Why don't you have Jordan Peterson give you a golden shower, boy? Right, the same way he talks to us. Well, that'd be nuts, man. right on Pierce Morgan.
Ali Shear said, "Stop spreading hate against Palestinians." Ali Shear.
What did we say that was spread hate against Palestinians?
Yeah, I have a question. What exactly did we say here that was hate against Palestinians? Can you please point at that? Thank you.
Isn't it amazing, by the way? Hey, what's the problem going on here? What's blocking the path to peace? Our guess is this guy being taken as a prophet when he says that you have to completely exterminate that other side. We're thinking that's the problem here. Why are you spreading hatred? Why are you spreading hatred against Palestinians by pointing out the obvious problem here?
Yeah.
The joke.
If you think that me pointing out that Hamas is a genocidal, hate-filled Islamist jihadist organization which has the entire purpose, the entire stated goal of never recognizing Israel, never recognizing Jewish presence in the region, and going to war and urging Muslims around the world to go to war against the disbelievers and kill the Jews. If you think that is spreading hate against Palestinians, then I think that's your problem. You are seeing the things in a very wrong and possibly very dangerous way. It's not my problem. On the contrary, I say if you want Palestinians to find peace, you should probably get rid of groups like Hamas. Yeah, all right.
And their fake prophet.
Yes.
You think anyone in Israel, no one in Israel wants to reoccupy the Gaza Strip. No one. That's why Israel has been studiously avoiding reoccupying the Gaza Strip since 2006, despite the fact that they've been living underground in large parts of Israel for weeks at a time because of rocket attacks that have been fired on a regular basis from the Gaza Strip into major cities.
But let me ask you this.
Wait, this was actually a very good response to it.
Let me push back a bit on you.
That's why Israel, you think I'd go ahead and govern yourselves, and this is the result of that. You think anyone in Israel, no one in Israel wants to reoccupy the Gaza Strip. No one. That's why Israel has been studiously avoiding reoccupying the Gaza Strip.
Because it's bombed. Because it's bombed to nothing. Why would you want it?
Nobody wants to govern over the Gaza Strip.
You bombed it, and now you don't want it.
Not even Egypt wants it. Not even Egypt wanted it, and they still just don't want to open their borders and their corridors to Palestinians. They just don't want to do it. Nobody wants it. They all pretend to care, but not even they want it.
I saw someone pointing that out. It's like women and children are welcome to leave and go be refugees and so on somewhere else, and they're not allowed to leave. I mean, not allowed to leave according to Hamas. They're not going to let them leave.
Yeah, Hamas does. Hamas says that the population must ignore all calls to get out. There are footages. I'm not sure if they are confirmed yet, but there are footages of Hamas actually blocking streets and preventing the civilian population from leaving southward. I'm not sure if they are confirmed, but I think even the Israeli some Israeli agencies shared footage of that to prove it. But if that is the case, then that's really messed up.
No, I mean, think about it. So you have Ukraine. There's a war in Ukraine. In areas that are that are actually going to be war zones, they get the women and children out of there. Those women and children go to some are taken either to a different place or to some other country. That kind of makes sense. Okay, there's a bloodbath about to happen. Why don't you let the women and kids get out of there? No. Why? Because we want them to die for photo ops.
Times of Israel says IDF says Hamas is preventing civilians from evacuating northern Gaza, and shows some satellite footage, I guess. Is preventing Palestinians from evacuating the northern part of Gaza Strip. The IDF has warned Gaza residents in the northern part of the Strip to evacuate them in preparations for an expected ground incursion or a stepped-up offensive. The area is home to about 1 million people. The military says it has identified hundreds of thousands of Palestinians moving south, but many are getting stuck in traffic caused by Hamas roadblocks.
Oh, you got the roadblocks right there on the screen.
Yeah, Hamas is making it difficult for the residents of the Gaza Strip to move on main roads and prevents the passage of vehicles on these roads, the IDF says. So I'm not entirely sure how far this is confirmed and how far this is true, but it looks like there is truth to it. And if that is the case, if Hamas is actually actively blocking the population in Gaza from leaving the war zone, what do you call this? This is like they are basically preventing their own population from finding safety and sending their own population against their own will to their deaths. If they are fleeing the war zone, that means they don't want to be part of that war zone. They want to survive. And Hamas tells them, nope, you will stay here. No survival for you. So that's messed up. And you know who is going to be blamed for that later, right?
The Jews.
Yeah. As always.
First, they control the community notes. Then they target a bunch of kids who weren't allowed to leave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They've been living underground in large parts of Israel for weeks at a time because of rocket attacks that have been fired on a regular basis from the Gaza Strip into major cities.
But let me ask you this, Ben.
Ashkelon.
In Gaza, you have 2 million people, many
really
of whom are young people.
Yes.
Pretty hopeless conditions.
That's true.
To live in. I think people would agree with that.
Okay, then they're talking about the situation in Gaza and how people are raised, and Ben Shapiro offers his regular points. But there was actually one thing. What was that? Something that is interesting.
Not much chance of getting out of there. They live in very densely populated areas.
You're talking about Andrew Tate here somewhere. And I saw that, and it was funny. Oh yeah.
Hey, did everyone see Andrew Tate saying that he had his guy on the ground in Gaza, and the guy's giving food that was paid for by Andrew Tate, and bombs are bursting all around the guy. And then someone saw the dude's license plate, and he's like in Syria or something. And then people said, no, he's in Syria. And the guy said, yeah, I'm in Syria. He's hundreds of miles away in Syria. And Tate was going around talking about how this guy was, Tate paid for this guy to be providing food in Gaza. The guy was in Syria.
I mean, how in the world can he even go to Gaza right now and distribute food in the streets? That's we have reports of others not being able to enter. Did that guy somehow get in there because he said, "Oh, we have
he's not because he was still in prostitutes. He's not because he was still in Syria. But isn't it amazing? Like the guy's actually in Syria. His car's in Syria. He's sitting there in Syria. He's admitting that he's in Syria. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate is posting that this guy is in Gaza in a war zone with bombs bursting around him, providing food thanks to Andrew Tate.
No, but maybe Deanna said with a paraglider. That's true.
There you
Maybe
go.
he borrowed a paraglider from those
From Hamas, yeah.
from Hamas, and landed in Gaza. Now he can't get out, but it was worth it because at least he's doing something for the top G. So
that is crazy, by the way, right? Like how relentless they are. I mean, they were coming through tunnels, they were bulldozing through the fences, and they were coming over fences, like over, under, and through to get to you. That's how much they want to. That's how much they want to kill you.
Yeah. Israel Advocacy Movement posted a video of some Israeli being attacked by a mob in England violently. Let's see.
Look, there's like an army of cops trying to protect a Jew from getting.
One person. It is one person. One person holding a flag. Attacked by so many people
in the UK.
In the UK, in a country that is allied with Israel. While these guys, this mob, is basically marching for and with an organization that is considered a terrorist organization. They gather and chanting Allahu Akbar and other things, they attack this guy with a clear intent of beating him up and probably doing worse things if the police wasn't there.
And Jewish parents are being notified not to let their kids out of the house with anything signifying that they're Jews. If they're wearing a yarmulke or anything, to have a baseball cap over top of it so that they can't be identified as Jews. I mean, this is the UK. This is the UK. You can't be a Jew in public because you're going to be attacked by a mob.
Yeah. This is
can't say we didn't warn you, everyone. Can't say we didn't warn you over and over and over and over again.
Carol B said, I like the sign exist, resist, return. I hope they'll return to where they came from.
Well, I'm just saying, if Muhammad kicked Jews and Christians off their ancestral homelands in Arabia, yeah, we have a right to exist and to resist and to return to our homeland.
Yeah.
Free Mecca.
I mean, I say, if you are in the UK or in another country in the West, and you go out so passionately, always speaking out against your country and your alliances, and you continue always siding with so proudly propagating stuff for your place of origin and siding with the opponents of your own country, I think you should just leave. You should get out. Why in the world are you here? Get out. This shouldn't be a very controversial thing to say. I'm not saying be deported. I'm not saying you shouldn't be allowed to say it. I'm saying you should get out. And I can't say that because I'm being very consistent here. I lived in a place that I didn't like because I didn't agree with the culture and the sentiments and this and that, and I left. Maybe these guys, if they're so amazing, should do the very same thing. B.Apologetics said, a wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Gandalf. Yeah, Gandalf was a very wise man. Unfortunately, he's not among us anymore. But yeah, I'm never late because time...
It is a metaphysical matter.
Yeah. Tatiana said, AP and or David Wood, a Palestinian Arab pastor named Dr. George Antonius, who is knowledgeable the Arab-Jewish debate, would be interested in discussing this with you. If interested, please email him, Pastor. Okay, I'll check it out.
Well, it's Hope Montreal. It sounds like a Canadian, eh?
Oh yeah, maybe.
He's a Canadian.
Yeah.
You seriously You want to talk to a Canadian, man?
I don't understand them. Do they even speak English? Probably. I don't.
No, they all speak like some weird French hybrid.
Yeah. Maybe if he speaks English, I will. Yeah, I might try. But thank you. Prash said Palestinians should convert to Judaism and make aliyah to Israel. I solved the whole problem. I doubt Israel would accept, though. LOL. I mean, there are plenty of converts also that are actually welcome, contrary to popular belief. So not necessarily a big joke, right? Tatiana said he speaks English. I know, I'm just kidding.
We're joking. That was a total joke, Tatiana.
Michael Stins made a super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sid Dave said, just like Israel was created for Jewish people, Gaza should be declared to be homeland of LGBTQ, where trans can call themselves by their preferred pronouns and live peacefully among their 1,000 genders. This is very bigoted and hateful on so many levels, and I condemn you. Sid Dave said Shia Muslims believe that Adam and Noah are buried in Iraq. Where do they get these all fake holy sites from? Abraham in Mecca and Mo in Jerusalem. They have crazy ideas. Then again, it's not just Shia, it's also Sunni ideas. I mean, the whole Islamic belief that Abraham went to Mecca, which is like nonsense.
Yeah, to be fair, all kinds of people have done this down through history as far as claiming sites and relics and so on. And some of them do have, some sort of historical basis of, this was this guy's tomb, or this was where we recorded that this guy was buried a long time ago. But it was a thing once where you could get relics back in the day, like in the medieval period. You get relics of Jesus' cross, a little piece of wood that came from Jesus' cross, right? Anyway, so someone eventually did the math, and like the amount of wood in these little things that were being passed around as relics would be like a ton of trees. And so anyway, turns out some people were faking. But yes, that can happen. You can always say, if you want to make a tourist attraction or something like that, you could say, hey, this is where this guy died.
This guy says it's now illegal to say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free in Germany. This is pure madness. Now, this guy
it's legal to say Deutschland über alles.
This guy is not a very good
hypocrites.
A very good source for accurate information, so I'm not really sure how far this is true. But let's see. In view of the terrorist attack on Israel, the Berlin Public Prosecutor's Office and police want to take stricter action against anti-Israel slogans and demonstrations by Palestinian groups. The use of the oft-used slogan "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free" is now being classified as a criminal offense by the Public Prosecutor's Office. A police spokeswoman told the German press agency on Friday. For those who don't understand the entire context here, there is no complete free speech in Germany. In Germany, it has been, for example, forbidden for a very long time to publicly display Nazi symbols. It's actually illegal.
Is that one of the countries where Holocaust denial is illegal? I know there are a couple countries where you can't deny the Holocaust. Yeah. I've had even regular videos on Islam. The biggest banner of my videos is Pakistan. They win by a long shot. I think there is a government office that does nothing but watch my videos and used to block them all the time. But number two, the second most common banner of my videos was Germany. Because Pakistan was number one. Number two, not Saudi Arabia, not anything, Germany. So yeah, they do believe in silencing critics. Not surprising, these are the champion book burners of the 20th century.
Be quiet, man.
And besides, they're making a law against "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." Doesn't even make any sense. They wouldn't even be saying it in English.
Brandon Clav said Germany ruining World War II video games. Right. I actually, growing up in Germany, it was very weird. Often there were Germany versions of some games and then international versions, and the German versions are like instead of humans, the units are actually like robots. Instead of Nazi symbols, they have like different symbols that don't make any sense, and so on. So there's quite some suppression and censorship at work there, which is often justified to say, you know what, we don't care, we just don't want a rise of these ideas that once upon a time really messed this place up anymore. So
yes, so we'll just bring in tons and tons and tons of people who believe in exterminating Jews. That'll fix it. I did used to play Das Boot.
Das Boot.
It's a German submarine game. You're a German U-boat going around blowing up ships.
Yeah. But yeah, for those who missed it, From the River to the Sea, Palestine Will Be Free is actually a not just pro-Palestinian, it is an explicitly anti-Israel and also anti-Jewish slogan that people often ignorantly use or deliberately misuse. But hey, let's look at this quickly.
And but by the way, I mean, notice what they're talking about there. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. They know, like, if you didn't know what that referred to, you'd say, oh, it's just about freedom. You brought this up earlier. No, it's about exterminating Jews. That's what that is about. We're going to wipe the Jews off the map and take everything back. And so they're saying, hey, this is actually a call to annihilate Jews.
Yeah. And in a country that bans genocidal speech, it's of course going to be problematic to say such a phrase.
Example of sides that are incredibly far apart coming together. But here we are talking about one side that, simple premise, if Israel put down all of its guns tomorrow, every Jew in the region would be slaughtered. If Hamas put down all of its guns tomorrow, Israel would leave the Gaza Strip alone. It is that simple.
You know what? I think
let me push back and play more clips of Mohammed Hijab for you.
I think that's very accurate, and that's actually a Golda Meir quote. I think that Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, it's a famous quote.
Yeah.
Ask you got into a Twitter spat with Andrew Tate yesterday. He's a converted Muslim. He'd been doing a lot of supportive tweets.
Sex trafficker.
And he tweeted at you,
rapist.
Accused rapist.
Ben Shapiro says amazing things.
At one stage, Mr. Tough Guy, let me assure you, is someone who's done his own fighting as opposed to excitedly encouraging others to do it for him while sitting at home on a comfy chair.
Oh, please burn this guy up.
He
did.
What was that spat about? Why did you engage with him? What do you feel about that?
Well, what I feel about that is that he was tweeting that immediately, like as terrorists were still running around in southern Israel. That was on October 10th. And he was still tweeting while the bodies were fresh and warm in the streets. Peace is, you cannot make peace with people who murdered your children and burned their bodies. You can't do that. I mean, this rush to Israel, the murder happens and you immediately say, okay, well, guys, now truce. Now truce. Now ceasefire. That is not, no state worth its salt. No government on earth would allow this kind of insanity. No government on earth. And no government on earth would listen to nonsense about how you immediately have to seek peace with a group that seeks your direct extermination. Again, I can't emphasize enough. Israel turned over the Gaza Strip to Gazans in 2005. Hamas has governed the area since...
What is with the video? Why is it so glitchy? That's so weird. Piers Morgan, terrible.
2006. The year is currently 2023. Israel has endured round after round of rocket fire on its major cities for literally almost 20
Isn't that what a dumb idea? I mean, I thought the same thing for days now, but yeah, even the same day, October 7th or October 8th, you have these terrorists pouring into your country, walking through the streets, shooting people down indiscriminately, the civilian population, taking them hostage, burning entire villages and communities down, regardless of who is in the homes, going to a festival, shooting. There is a video of them shooting and filming it, like with cameras attached to them, shooting at the festival into mobile toilets that whose doors are closed. The terrorists go around, they just shoot at each one of them, and it's very clear as day from that video that they don't care who they are shooting at. They just shoot and just think as many people as possible we should kill. Every kill is a victory.
And think about how stupid Andrew Tate's tweet is, right? Like, oh, I'm a real fighter. You don't know how to fight. Therefore, you shouldn't be commenting on fighting when I'm a real fighter. It's like, dude, you're a kickboxer. You're a kickboxer with pads on, with a referee standing there. So how much what in the name of common sense does that have to do with you knowing what you're talking about in war, and this guy doesn't. He has to keep quiet about it.
He makes it all about himself immediately. He has to be the
That's
narcissist.
what they do.
Immediately like, oh, there are people being killed. Or how about let's talk about me, how strong I am, and what I do
Let's
about
talk about how many babes I sex traffic. I mean, no, I didn't sex traffic, but come to the war. Come to the war room, and I'll tell you how I did it. But I mean, even though I didn't do it now, because I'm going to prison over it.
Yeah. Look at this.
How did Ben not bring that up, man? Did he not? Why didn't he bring that up? It's a sex trafficker.
He did.
Andrew Tate's a sex trafficker and rapist.
He did. Look at this.
Oh, nice.
Actually, you know what? I don't think I'm supposed to show this.
Yeah. Why are you showing that on? Anyone can see this right under Israeli Defense Forces.
Yeah. I don't think I'm supposed to show this on a live stream, but yeah, Israeli Defense Forces posted a video where Hamas guys filmed it themselves, where they go around shooting.
Yeah, notice they don't. You don't know if it's women crowded into these things to hide, or kids, or anything else. You just say, let me just check and shoot into them.
I downloaded a bunch of videos that I found on websites that are not like social media, where all kinds of graphic stuff is shared related to the conflict. And there is some really, really messed up footage taken by Hamas members themselves, from civilians, from bystanders, from journalists, and other things. And you can see a lot of stuff there. Like some people say, oh, you know, the festival thing is just an allegation. They didn't actually kill anybody. First off, here you have a direct footage of Hamas terrorists filming an instance of them going to the festival and shooting at these public toilets. And what they do is, I mean, they shoot at those toilets with the intention of killing whoever is in there. They don't really care about who it is. All they care is that they are in Israel, and whoever is killed here, whoever dies here, is an enemy for them. That's it. And they did find 260 dead bodies related to the festival, and there is an entire road that is full of dead bodies. There were the terrorists were standing on the on the sides of the road and shooting civilians who are fleeing the scene. You have even footage from a car where these people, they're just trying to flee from the festival. And then on the side of the road, there are terrorists who, as soon as they see the car, start shooting. And the footage is, you don't see what actually happens to the person who drives the car, because, it's one of those, what's it called? Dashboard camera. All it shows is that the car starts slowing down after the shots and eventually stops. And what you get from the video is basically whoever was driving that car was just shot and killed. But hey, yeah, these people are just resisting. It's all just, they're not killing civilians. They're not doing anything to any civilians. They're just resisting. Yeah.
Hey, I actually have to go because I'm supposed to watch my kid at 10, but I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for Hamas and Mohammed Hijab and Daniel to make the claim. They weren't targeting civilians. They just hate porta potties.
Okay, just look at one final thing before you leave.
Okay.
Years. And now the idea is the minute that Gazan terrorists rush through the border and murder people in their beds, that's the time for a peace conversation? That's the time for a peace conversation? By the way, and I'm not going to be lectured on morality and toughness by Andrew Tate, whose great idea of toughness and morality is pimping women and then bragging about it on air and trying to quasi-walk it back while simultaneously maintaining many of the same positions and flexing his biceps.
Dude, you need to save that, because that should be played in every Andrew Tate video. That little clip right there.
I know. I mean, he wasn't even. This is even very mild, but still, just saying that.
And flexing his biceps.
But it was. This was so satisfying. The moment I saw this, I thought, "Oh yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for saying this."
Conversation.
Hey, you know what? You know, it had been an awesome response from Pierce, though. Well, if that's the case, then why is Candace Owens so into him? That'd have been awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like try to cause division.
By the way, and I'm not going to be lectured on morality and toughness by Andrew Tate, whose great idea of toughness and morality is pimping women and then bragging about it on air and trying to quasi walk it back while simultaneously maintaining many of the same positions and flexing his biceps.
I love the flexing his biceps.
Yeah, the final flexing his biceps touch. It's just it's nice.
This is awesome.
Okay, you can.
All right, that is a good note to end on. That's sick burn right there. All right,
sick burn.
We'll be live. We'll be live tomorrow on my channel, right?
Inshallah. Yes, we will.
All right, then you will see us tomorrow.
Okay, I will just assume your role and answer whatever questions are here for you.
Indeed, indeed.
See you tomorrow.
All right, yeah, you can answer as me for anything, any questions.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, see you. All right. Carl said, "Hi guys, what do you think of those supporting Hamas having their citizenship revoked, praying AP will come to Christ soon?" I'm kind of conflicted on such legal repercussions against people for that kind of stuff. I don't know, but conflicted. Lucid said, have you seen the YouTube channel Bobby's Perspective? He was a Hindu Buddhist, then became vegan, then anti-vegan, then ortho-Christian, and now a Muslim fanatic. Classic grifter YouTube scheme. I think I know who you're talking about. That guy with that deep voice, bald, big beard, whose videos mostly consisted of him just sitting there and watching videos and titling it Christian Reacts to Quran or something like that. Is that the guy? I don't know. I haven't seen a single thing from him or about him, to be honest. So not sure what exactly to say about that. But yeah, I mean, reaction video guys converting to whatever their audience propagates. You know, it's just, what am I supposed to do with that information? Samuel Tawhid said David was a prophet. Even his prophecy of crying Palestinians were not hard to predict. He was more correct than any of Muhammad's crazy acid trips. I agree. Abu Bakr al-Puff Daddy said, AP and David, do you think Islam will ever destroy itself? Shia versus Sunni, Turks versus Arabs, Asians versus Persians, youth versus old imams, artificial intelligence, scholars, right-wing Islam? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. You asked so many questions here. What am I supposed to answer now? But yes, it will. I think Islam will just die out as an idea because it doesn't serve the whole human desire and human idea of living well, of striving for happiness, striving for well-being. It's a very ancient idea that humans fundamentally have the will to strive for happiness. Like Aristotle talked a lot about that, how happiness is the ultimate good. Everything else that you do in life is for something else, but happiness is the only thing that you do for the sake of happiness. You don't do it for something else. And just by that standard, I think Islam just doesn't combine very well with the idea of finding well-being. And because of that, it will just die out in the long run, as it is right now. The Fun Bun said, no, I love Dave and you don't fight. I don't know anything about the guy, except that he just started responding to my tweets and just yelling at me on Twitter for no reason and acting like a complete jerk. So, I don't know. Two things. DR said two things. One, a Greek Cypriot. How do you actually say that? This is one of those things that I read so many times, but I never hear anybody say it. Giving a Turk money. 2, world premiere. Daniel Hapifaju, let it go viral. Chew or do works also. Love your integrity. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Who was that? Who gave me money? Who gave me money? I want to see that. Random OK said, David, we should reestablish the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Yeah, let's start the Crusades. Let's start the Crusades. People would love that. Red Knight 821 said AP and Professor Dave are both atheists, which is gross, but AP is the better of two evils. Haha, God bless you, AP and David. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I said I don't know anything about the guy. I mean, let's see. Prof. Dave. I think I turned on one of his videos the other day to just check who is this guy and why is he responding to me. But I don't know. Some weirdo. I don't really know why he engages in conversations with me and calls me names. I mean, he's just completely ignorant on the whole issue as well. Like, he brought up these classic lines of, "Oh, so you think the Zionists, just wanted to build their own country in a place where nobody else lives? Why did they go there and steal the lands and expel 700,000 people?" I mean, just that statement, just that question has so many flaws in it that you can't even. Why would I take seriously somebody to whom I have to explain how that entire question is based on false premises and is completely factually wrong? It's just ignorant. But hey, I asked him for a debate since he was so arrogant and so insulting, but I don't think he will accept that. Sid Dave said, "La ilaha illallah, David would Rasulullah." This is very, very Islamophobic. Very, very Islamophobic. The person with these symbols said, "What do you think of the theory that Muhammad was influenced by Christian heretical sects?" I think we both answered that question in the past and kind of agreed that he was probably influenced by some Christian beliefs and also Jewish beliefs, which he, however, very misunderstood very much and twisted for his own agenda, for his own little religion. And that makes sense because I mean, there is this book that I mention sometimes. I shouldn't talk when I turn it on. There is this book that I mention sometimes, which is by the writings of Saint John of Damascus, and he has a whole section here on heretics, and it talks about many different Christian sects, and one of them is actually the Muslims. He describes them as a Christian sect that is influenced by deviant Christians who found refuge in Arabia with their unpopular, strange ideas that were not accepted in the rest of the Christian world. So anyway, it all makes sense. So that's a very old theory. Mosh Cohen said, "Probably won't be available for a while. Keep up the good work and know that we watch your videos and it gives us power. Inshallah, they'll pay for it." This is hard to read, honestly. Mosh, all the best. I know you have been called to service, to fight. I hope everything goes well. Stay safe. Stay safe, man. Hope to see you again. Hope to see you soon. Stay safe, Mosh. Cedric said, "For services rendered." Mossad, yeah. DR said, "Off topic, but I write jokes also. Muhammad to Abu Bakr, is your daughter Aisha cute? Abu Bakr, brother, she's 6 years old. Muhammad, that's not what I asked. I wrote this joke and I'm proud of that."
We're proud of that.
But technically, Muhammad saw Aisha grow from a very young age when she was a little child, and he thought, "Hey, that little one, I will marry her." That's the Holy Prophet. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Tenzil Muslim said, "What are your thoughts on Allah being a moon god?" Old idea that I can't really fully support. I mean, the moon was associated with some religious practices and ideas back in the pagan Arab environment, and maybe with Hubal, who was the god that was that the Kaaba was dedicated to. But I don't know, the whole moon god Allah relation is a little bit cloudy, and I think that Muhammad's idea of Allah is more just his attempt to incorporate the monotheistic Abrahamic idea of God, but then mix it with his local polytheistic beliefs and completely mess it up because of his sheer ignorance of Abrahamic tradition and biblical scripture and all that. That's my take on it. Knows too much said Islam is satanic and evil. God of Islam is Satan. Wants to destroy all people and cultures. Make it Islamic pan-Arabic. So many cultures destroyed. UUB or Jujub made a super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Shadow 14 said it is rather Islamophobic of Israel to shoot back at the poor, oppressed Hamas and Hezbollah, freedom fighters who are simply trying to decolonize the world from the Zionists. Is that too much to ask? All right, that's what I say. So why is Israel? It's very disgusting. Why is Israel actually shooting back and responding to this group that just wants to eradicate the Jews and just wants to go in there and take it all from the river to the sea, rape people, take hostages, burn places down? Why would they do that? This is just disgusting. I agree. Voyager said this Gazans will end up in Western countries through UN refugee programs. I can bet on that. I hope not. Knows too much that Muslims don't care that Egypt won't open their borders to the Palestinian Nazi brothers in Gaza. Egypt and Muslims want Israel forever under jihad. Yeah, I think Egypt is just also too concerned with their own safety and their own well-being, and without saying it out loud, they just don't want to host more Palestinian refugees, including Hamas and terrorist cells. Because the last time that happened, much of the population, much of the terrorists that became active and fought Israel, many of them were, they grew up in Egypt. They started out in Egypt. And Egypt just doesn't want to involve itself in this conflict as a fighting side. They don't want to be responsible for hosting terrorism. They just don't care about that. Cedric said, if there are signs. God, should I play the video again? I should. Everyone should see that. If you haven't seen that, you should just see it. You should see it. In that, you should just see it. This is funny. I'm opening my own live chat. Oh, here.
When there are signs of physical maturity, it becomes in Islamic law to have marital relationships or consummate the relation with his bride. And this is the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Do you know what precocious puberty is?
Starting puberty unusually early.
Is there anything in Islam that prevents you from, a man marrying a 5-year-old that started precocious puberty?
You can arrange a marriage even as an infant, but that doesn't mean that sex is allowed.
Could a man have a marriage to a 5-year-old consummated if she started precocious puberty?
If she starts showing signs of physical maturity, then yes, that's permissible. As I
said,
said,
age 4.
If there are signs
3.
So this is something that becomes biologically impossible because
I have a
puberty,
study that shows it goes as early as 11 months.
Well, that's something that the parents would not. See, the thing about Islamic marriage is that parents are involved at these ages, and when you look at the marriage of the Prophet,
there are seriously people who support this guy and who think he's a great representative of Islam and he did a great job. I just applaud Michael, Inspiring Philosophy, for going there and making this possible, asking these questions so deliberately and exposing this guy for basically being a pedophilia advocate here. Wild stuff, man. Pedophilia advocate. Yeah, that's what it should be called. That's what he should be called. It shouldn't just be a Muslim apologist or a Muslim defender or preacher. It should be Muslim preacher or Muslim apologist and pedophilia advocate. That should be his title. That should be his title. Shayna Zion said, IDF just sent a video message to Gaza. Really? Let's see. Did they publish it on their stuff? An important message for the world to hear from IDF international spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Richard Hecht. Let's see.
They've continuously attacked Israel every day since. We have a responsibility.
I need to play it without sound to protect our people and make sure this thing never happens again. That's why the IDF is operating to eliminate Hamas in Gaza. Our war is not with the people of Gaza. Let me say that again. Our war is not with the people of Gaza. In stark contrast to Hamas war crimes. Okay, unfortunately, I think I'm not supposed to show this live. So if you want to check it out, go check it out. I'm going to share a link to that in my live chat. But as far as I just learned, I'm not supposed to show footage like this live during a live stream. I can show it on videos, but not on a live stream. Yeah, go and check it out. I just linked it. I just linked it in the chat and I pinned it, so go and watch it, guys. Zaid Al-Hindawi said, AP, what do you mean you don't want immigrants like you in Germany? So you oppose your own existence in Germany. Go back to Turkey then. Zaid Al-Hindawi, didn't I just say that if you are in a Western state, and while you are in the Western state, you violently protest against that Western state and for your country of origin, or for organizations or countries that are opponents of your country, then you should probably leave. That's what I said. I was in Germany and I'm now in America. How in the world do you think that applies to me? Is this too much? Is it too much? How in the world do you think that would apply to me? But yeah, so apparently Israel's video is about evacuating. They are basically calling upon the Gazan civilians to seek refuge. Hamas has already told civilians in Gaza to ignore the warnings, but we are telling them once again to leave Gaza City. That's what they're saying. Yeah, so Israel's announcement to the Gazans is your leaders tell you to ignore our calls because they want to use you. We are telling you our war is not with you. We want you to leave Gaza City now and not be in the middle of a war zone. That's what they say. Thank you, Tatiana. I appreciate that. I appreciate the context. Question for David: How corner Israel has to so they nuke? Yes, I agree. But yes. Luke Slivkov said, when you stand before God, you cannot say, but I was told by others to do thus or that. Virtue was not convenient at the time. This will not suffice. Baldwin 4, Kingdom of Heaven. I will take note of that. Sankey said, Ben Shapiro should start kid show on Daily Wire to build bridges with Muhammad. I doubt that Ben Shapiro will ever actually want to sit down and have a debate with Muhammad Hijab. And why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's a dumb idea. Anyone who watches a little bit of footage from that guy should know that that guy is not interested in actually having a debate with you. Hey guys, thanks for covering this, said Mr. Crane. Also missed the debate yesterday. How did it go? Oh, the debate. It was the debate between me and Jake, the Muslim metaphysician, yesterday. It was fantastic. It was very good. And Thaddeus pointed out that it was actually the best debate performance by Jake, the Muslim metaphysician, that he has ever seen. Yeah. So check it out. Vieti Vista said, which of the 3 languages you speak is your favorite? Which one is my favorite? Good question. I think it's still German. So I speak German, Turkish, and English. And German is still my favorite. I think it's a very nice language. And obviously I'm biased. I don't know, because I don't know, I like Germany. I like German. I don't know. English is cool, but it's a little bit too It has a reputation for being very, too simple and dumbing things down too much. Yeah. On X, I see dissenter grifters shield for Hamas 1 minute and call them a Mossad false flag the next. What explains this schizo mentality? I see the same thing. That's what I mentioned earlier. Lots of people say stuff like that Israel, it was actually, Israel funded and was at the very beginning helping Hamas to grow. They are responsible for the growth of Hamas. But then also, really, they're then in the next moment defending the stuff that Hamas does. It's idiotic. It is so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, to them, this is just they want to move the blame over to the other side, and absolve their own side from blame whenever possible. I saw this today from the same people who were justifying the October 7 attacks. I saw stuff like, "Well, did you know that Israel actually funded Hamas at the beginning?" Okay, what are you trying to tell me here? It doesn't make any sense. Sid Dave said, when Muslims are in a minority, you can be assured they're always fighting to defend your country's multiculturalism and democracy. It is just that when they are in majority, things change. We have said it for a long time. We have talked about this for a long time. I just don't know what to say anymore. I just don't know what to say anymore about this. Okay, Zayda Lindewi, I don't want to be rude to you. You said, unlike Germany, we in the UK value freedom of expression and our right to demonstrate. So do the US in their constitution. Yes, but I don't think you understand anything I'm saying, so I'm not sure how to explain this to you. I'm not saying that people should not have the right to protest. I'm saying that if they so much love their country of origin or a different culture, that they cheer for them against their own host country, then they should probably leave. I'm not saying they should be deported. I'm not saying it should be illegal. I say they should probably leave. It's probably a good idea for them to leave, to just get out. Get the hell out of here. Like this.
Get the hell out of here!
Just leave. If you if you live in the UK, or you live in Germany, or you live in America, wherever it is, and you are so passionate about always defending some Islamist forces or some other countries that are at odds, that are clear opponents of the country that is hosting you, that is providing you services, giving you a home, giving you a better life because the place you came from is a shithole, then maybe just go away. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you should be deported. I'm saying just get the hell out. Do yourself a favor. Be consistent. Have a little bit of honor, if that's what you want to go for, and just get out. I would get out, and I did get out. I was in Turkey for a while, and I hated it, and I got out. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And it's very ironic coming from you because you are defending the Islamist networks there and then talking about freedom of expression. So no, when you say we in the UK value freedom of expression, I don't think that you value freedom of expression. I think you only value freedom of expression when you are given the right to express yourself freely in the UK, which is a country that you should be thankful to, instead of defending the bastards over there. That's all I want to say to you. Thank you. Royal Castriota said, heard Gaza will become the largest golf course in the world. I just hope that they can get rid of these terrorist groups and, I don't know, can start somewhere new without causing, more war and death and all that. I don't know. The Magician said, David, did Patrick Bet David contact you to participate in debates with Muslim influencers? I'm answering for David, maybe. I hope that answers the question. I was going to say something about that question, but for now, I want to be silent. But next week, I might have some news. Ooh, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? HJAD said Israel went after Hamas so hard that even Allah died in those underground tunnels. Israel Hu Akbar. What just happened? What the? Why did my light? My background light just turned off, and it was very strange. Okay. Yeah, no, Allah definitely. Allah didn't make it. Allah didn't make it. Allah did not make it. All right, let's see. Top B said grades 174. What does top B stand for? Top B. Do you mean top Ben? Joanne B. Hey, Joanne, thank you so much. Just donating in hope that you'll arrive on time one day. It's 3 a.m. and I'm so tired, but I can't miss your live stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. I might do more of those daytime live streams in the coming days, in this coming week. I'm very exhausted from days of doing stuff, but yeah, I might do that. But thank you, Joanne. I appreciate that. Thank you. Saint Charbel, miracle worker, said you two said you were warning the world for a while, and you have, but did you know why First Crusade was called? It was primarily to combat this new death cult, which was murdering Middle East Christians. Yeah, I mean, it was a call, a very desperate call to, I mean, I remember being in Germany in school in a, what was that? Was it 6th grade or something? 7th grade, 8th grade, I don't remember. And reading in history class letters during the Crusades, and letters in which calls for a crusade were made of things like our Christian brothers can no longer perform their pilgrimages. They are being spat on and abused and robbed and this and that, and calls like that. But then also in those same history classes, I learned so much criticism about the Christians and the Europeans and the Germans. And what's funny is we then moved to Turkey, where I went to high school, and I didn't learn a single negative thing about Turks or Muslims. It was always Turks and Muslims were always right, the other side was always bad. And that's how education generally goes in the Muslim world. That's how it is. But yeah. Sid Dave said, AP, are Turks racist towards Arabs and see them as low? There is indeed a problem in Turkey, which is there is indeed an issue in Turkey where people often have some very, I'm not saying this critically, it's just an observation. There are many like racially motivated opinions about Arabs. And some Arabs think, oh, Turks are our Muslim brothers and this and that. But lots of people in Turkey are like, yeah, we don't want you guys. We don't want Arabs. We don't want you guys. That's how many of them are. They think that attaching themselves to Arab cultures and Arab, causes keeps them backward instead of following a more westernized, modernized culture and way of living. And this is, of course, more a stance that is popular among the secular population in Turkey. And they also learned that stuff after the Turkish Republic was formed by Ataturk, which was built with the foundation of becoming a modern, secular, westernized country. And Ataturk described like the Arab culture and the Islamic culture as something corrupt and degrading and unstable from the past, which we must free ourselves from so that we can become a greater culture like those in the West. I mean, these are things that Ataturk said, the founder of the Turkish Republic. So that sentiment is kind of, it's popular in Turkey among the secular crowds. Among the more conservative and the religious ones, that's not popular. They still have like the whole, a love for Arab stuff and Arabic stuff, which is why often some secular people will call the religious people some names that I personally would not say, such as, "You Arab lovers, why don't you go to Arabia?" or stuff like that. But Turkey is a mess in terms of that whole secular religion divide. Yeah. Juju B made a super sticker, which I can't review here right now, but I bet it was fantastic. Thank you so much. Let me see what it is. It's a #1 fan. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Glad having you here. Very happy to have you here. Tanky said, "Is this supposed to be ironic? Is this supposed to be a joke, Tanky? You're not really a Tanky and not really a communist, right?" I hope so. Ataturk was pretty good at secularizing Turkey, to be honest. I do agree that he did a good job at secularizing Turkey, but he also did something that I pointed out before, which is it was done in a quite hostile way, where under Ataturk and his successors, the secular Kemalist movement had this whole this attitude toward the Ottoman past and the Islamic past and all of that, of hostility, and they wanted to suppress it pretty much by force as much as possible, which is why they banned a lot of Islamic stuff, banned a lot of stuff that was adopted from Arab culture and all of that, and they suppressed religious currents in the country in a very hostile way, and that did turn Turkey into a more modernized, Western-leaning country compared to its past, but it also created a lot of resentment in the Turkish religious Islamic communities, and that resentment eventually grew over the generations and came back in the form of Islamism and Islamic revivalism, which now took over the government. So, maybe that kind of suppression is not always the best way. That's what some people say, like me. All right, I'm going to leave now. Daniel Kikuchu is in talks to debate Sam Shamoon. This is the end of Daniel's debate career if it happens. Such is unique. Really? They're in talks to debate? Daniel is in talks to debate Sam Shamoon? Wow. That's that's funny. That is funny. I'll follow that. Sam is probably watching right now, but he doesn't want to admit it because he doesn't want to be humiliated by the fact that that my videos are so interesting, my live streams are so interesting that he has to stick around here watching it. So he's probably quietly watching this without commenting. But yeah, I hope it's true. It's fun. Do Turks consider themselves to be white and have a desire to be seen as closer to Europeans rather than Muslims? Is Erdogan taking Turkey back? There often is kind of a complex in Turkey of some people who want to be considered Western, who want to be. You might have seen if you spend time on political pages on social media or political forums, whatever it is, you might have often seen this whole this gag by now of whenever Turkey is described as a Middle Eastern country, you can see lots of Turks say, "Oh, Turkey is Europe, Turkey is West." And then others are like, "No, Turkey is not West. Turkey is not Europe." So there is a lot of there are a lot of sentiments in Turkey of wanting to be considered a Western European nation, and they don't want to be called Middle Eastern. That is quite popular. But then again, there is the other side of that divide, which is like, no, we are proud to be non-Western. We are proud to be Muslims first and stuff like that. Yeah. White is different. They don't consider themselves white. They don't really do that, make that divide. So they are very clear that they are different from Europeans, that they are of different origins. And they are actually very clear and often very proud of that.
We're proud of that.
All right, I'm going to go. Wait, somebody said something. Some people said something. Some people did something. Maladud said, wait, is there a beef between you two? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sam Shamoon loves me. I hate him, but he loves me. So I'm just kind of taking a dig here, just mocking him playfully, nicely. No, there's no beef between us. It's just peaceful stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go. Somebody said something that I just wanted to respond to. Solomon Schickelgruber said, "Are you sorry for the Armenian genocide? Do you mean sorry as in sorry as a Turk? If that's what you mean, no. Do you mean sorry that it happened? Yes. 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 But I don't. I mean, it is part of the history, and I don't take any pride in Turkish history. But yeah. Royal Castrator said Kosovo and Albania both offered help to Israel to fight Hamas and other Palestinian terrorists. Arabs going crazy over it. LOL. And they're probably expecting all Muslim-ish countries around the world to show solidarity. But yeah. Bro, what's going on in the world? Where's that? Richard Benjamin said, Apostate Prophet, did you monetize your videos? Some of them are monetized, some of them are not. Most often they're not monetized. So yeah, that's the state of things. That is the state of things. All right. I gotta go. Gotta go. Gotta go. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a fantastic day. I didn't even pay attention to the fact that that for probably 10 minutes now, I just had what if the parents allow it here on my screen. I bet people who just jumped in without knowing the context of it think, what is that about? Like, what the hell? Thanks everyone for watching. Have a fantastic day. And take care. And as always,
stay away from Islam.